wanted to come on here and talk about how to interact with people when you're going through a difficult time. And it just hit me, so I wanted to come on and share just from my experience in life and from others, and just talk about it. When you are going through an experience that might not be pleasant, isolation is often what you want to do, but that's not always the option. So, and it's not always for the best for an extended period of time. And so I think when it comes to interacting with people, I think the first thing is just being honest with yourself about your situation, and with those that you do choose to interact with, if you know them well enough, or if it's a work situation, of course establishing your boundaries. So you might have some things that you don't want to participate in, or you don't want to hear about, or that and even if it's past behaviors or past things where you might say, oh, I don't want to do that, or I don't feel comfortable doing that, or however you want to communicate that to them. But it's just the boundaries, because something could be a trigger as you're going through a difficult time. Something could genuinely be a trigger for you, and the isolation is kind of where you view yourself as being safe, but you can still interact with people. You're just going to have to set some boundaries, and sometimes boundaries don't have to always be verbally communicated. Some boundaries are nonverbal. I mean, something as simple as, like your body language. I guess if it's like a hug or something, and maybe you're not standing close enough to be hugged, or maybe you are, if you used to initiate things, maybe you don't initiate them. So maybe they pick up on it that way. But I think whether verbal or nonverbal, we can set boundaries. And I think also too, having support, I'll say that's like the third thing, but having support is important. And also knowing that people are not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm sure you might realize maybe you're not perfect. I think if we acknowledge that we all have room to improve, then that kind of helps us with our expectations. For me, I'm big on setting expectations, or even with some people knowing, where my expectations need to be, if that makes sense. I'm sure you have some people in your life where you know what to expect from them. Yeah, I'll leave it there. And then when you are around people, I think it's important to speak what you need from them, because I think sometimes people assume you always want advice. Sometimes you don't want advice. Sometimes it's nice for somebody to listen. Sometimes you just want to be in people's company and be present. Sometimes you don't need any advice. So sometimes it's best you can communicate, oh, I just want to spend time with you. I don't need anything. Or I just really wanted to get this off my chest. I don't really need anything. I'm still trying to work through it, but it just helps to talk about it. Being able to communicate what you need from someone, because sometimes when people are confused, they just start like giving you a lot of information and tips and advice, and you should do this, and so if they don't know, sometimes people they give you what they think you should have. And it's nice when it comes from a genuine place, but you can save somebody a lot of time. You're just telling them, I just want to be around someone right now, or I just wanted to, sit with y'all for lunch. I just didn't want to be at my desk, or You can tell it's nice to get out the house, something like that, where it's like, I don't need what you think I need. And then if you do need that, then you communicate it. Like, what do you think I should do in this situation? How would you handle this situation? I remember you went through a situation like this. How did you get through it? And then that lets that person know, oh, okay, you want me to share more of, how I navigated through a difficult time or something similar to what you're going through. So I think it's important to be very clear on what you need with someone, or be willing to accept whatever they think you need if you don't communicate that. And then with that comes vulnerability. So you do have to make yourself vulnerable. If you feel safe and if you feel comfortable opening up to someone, and just letting them know what you need can be a scary thing, depending on who the person is and the type of relationship that you all have. But those are the benefits that I think you can those are the ways that I think you can get the most out of interacting with someone when you're in a difficult time. And I know there are opposing forces as well on the other side. So there are so many things that make you not want to interact with people. And I know them well. So there are, different times where fear of different things stops us sometimes from interacting with people. I know I've experienced, sometimes you can just have a fear of judgment, because difficult situations, although everybody has them, the level of difficulty varies. And because we all have differing experiences, sometimes people assume what caused your difficult experience. And unfortunately, they don't know. Some people don't know that it's not necessarily anything that you've done that will cause the difficult situation that you're in. Sometimes it's just life. Life happens, time and chance. I mean, it happens to every one of us. And I think some of us carry more than others at different times. I think the level of difficulty varies from person to person. Somebody might go through something and it might stop their world. Somebody else might go through that same thing, and to them it's just another day. So I think we sometimes, because people don't always share what they've gone through or what they're going through, some people feel a fear of judgment just because they don't know that there's nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. Whatever one person is going through, there's countless others that have gone through it. It's just a matter of, did you ever get a chance to find or connect with someone that is going through what you're going through? To be able to know that there's a brighter day ahead, and there's a way that they went through it that may or may not work for you, but just knowing that someone else went through a difficult time similar or identical to yours can give you some encouragement, some strength. So I think one of the opposing forces is fear of what people will think, and then I think that kind of ties in with like shame. Sometimes people isolate themselves because maybe they do think that what they are going through was avoidable, and maybe it was. Sometimes we go through things that we very much do bring upon ourselves, and so there's shame in decision making, and wishing that you have made a different decision, and things like that. So I can definitely understand how just in general having a feeling of shame can make you isolate and stay away from those that you once were around. Now, if you outgrow people, you outgrow people. That's not isolation. That is just changing your environment, maybe taking a pace or a beat to reset, and maybe find a different circle that more so aligns with what you're working on and what you're going towards. That's different from isolation. I think too, depending on what you may need from people, you maybe don't want to be a burden. I think not wanting to be a burden is a big part of isolation for some people. People are driving crazy out here. But not wanting to be a burden, I think sometimes people can stay away because they don't want to feel like people have to cater to them or check on them or constantly. I don't know if you've ever gotten a look. I think it comes from, I don't know if you've ever gotten a look, but there's a look sometimes that people can give you, and I don't think they intentionally mean to do it. It's just people just do it. There's a look of like, it's a sympathy look. And I don't think, and there's different times where I'm sure it could be comforting to someone. Not me. I'm not that one. But I'm sure there are people that really appreciate those looks of sympathy and I guess like empathy. But it's not helpful. It's not helpful. And sometimes you can feel like you don't want to come around something or someone because, you know, now here comes the sympathy and the trying to. I'm sure people mean well when they do it. I'm sure the objective or the reason behind it is to show that there's a care there, I believe. But just for me, I don't need it. But I can understand why people do it. I think oftentimes you can get through a lot of things if you understand maybe why someone would do it. And that's why I said, so like communicating, whether verbally or non-verbally, or because that's a non-verbal communication when someone gives you that sympathy look, and you might very well be like, you can communicate back like, yeah, that was kind. So so that's what I'll say on that one, with being a possible burden in terms of whether it be monetarily, emotionally, whatever you feel like you might put on someone that they then have to, dispense something for you because of your situation. So that in itself can make you want to refrain from being in certain environments. And then I think sometimes people isolate themselves because they just can't communicate. They feel like they can't communicate what they're going through. So it's just best to just be away from people. It's like, I can't even say how I feel. So I'm just be sitting there. People probably gonna want me to talk, or someone might want me to share, or open up, and it's like, I can't communicate it. I just don't have the words. And that's real. That's very real. And that's why I said sometimes you can communicate and let people know. I just wanted to get out the house. I just wanted to be around some people. Letting them know that, it doesn't have to be all eyes on you. You just want to get out the house. That's it. I just want to get out the house. I don't need anything. I just want to get out the house. I don't want to elaborate on anything. I just want to get out the house. And then I think one of the final reasons I'll say in terms of why someone may not want to be around people or isolate themselves is emotional drain can really take a toll on your physical energy sometimes. And so sometimes you may just not have the physical energy to hold a conversation. Sometimes you might not have the physical energy to entertain small talk. Sometimes you just don't have it. It's just not there. Sometimes it is like I just want to be in silence. And you don't want to be rude. So you're like, I'm just not gonna go around anybody. But that's where going back to those ways to interact with people during difficult times. I think you need to be honest with yourself and be honest to the level that you're comfortable being honest with someone else, and just letting them know, like, this is what I'm going through. Setting boundaries, I don't need any, or I would like for you to not do that, or could you please do this, or setting those boundaries. That's the second thing. And then, like I said before, with understanding, when you get support or ask for support or need support from people, understanding that people aren't perfect. Although that support may not look like what you want it to look like, just know sometimes that people are not perfect. They're not perfect. They're gonna do the best they can do, if that. And some people will go above and beyond, and you appreciate them immensely. But the fourth one is speaking your needs. You just gotta say what you need, and you can say what you don't need. And sometimes saying what you need leads into the fifth one, being vulnerable. By saying what you need, you are then opening up yourself for someone to either give you that or not give you that. But it's simple, and sometimes people can't give you that goes back into what I was saying about expectations. Setting the right expectations for different people can be a way to protect yourself. Sometimes having grand expectations for someone that has yet to deliver, that might not go well. I just want to come on because I'm driving through these Atlanta streets and just share how to get through a difficult time when you have to, or when you are considering interacting with people. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you for tuning in.